Hi beautiful, good morning. Welcome back to my channel. You guys, we're always talking about how we can just be our most soft and feminine selves, live our best life, and making sure that we're just being authentic and living the best life that's available for us, because there are a lot of things around us trying to pull us away from our true identity, our self-worth, and just trying to get us to forget who we are. And so, soft and feminine energy is when we are confident as women. We understand who we are, but we're not forcing things, and we're not allowing all of these outside things to separate us from our work. So, today I have a very special topic related to this that falls underneath this category, and it's very personal because I realize it's something that I've been dealing with for the past few years. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop the topic right now. As you probably saw in the thumbnail, let's just talk about, as women, being patient with ourselves. And this is something that I noticed for me personally. Throughout the past few years, I started lacking patience with myself. I became more irritable, I became less patient, and more upset when I make small tiny mistakes that is it's separating me from this soft and feminine state. And because of this, I started talking down on myself for no reason, and I started just giving myself negative affirmations because I'm constantly in this place of just being impatient with myself and getting upset over these minor mistakes that I may make. And I've also noticed that I can be very patient with everybody around me, my loved ones, even a stranger. But why can't I be patient with myself? So somewhere down the line, I kind of lost the ability to be patient with myself, and I've just started becoming more aware of that. So I'm stepping back, looking at myself, and I want to make sure that I tackle this right now so that this doesn't bleed into something much worse in a few years or in a few months. And I also want to make sure that I'm not pouring this type of energy towards my future daughters or friends and loved ones. So, if you are watching this video, then either you're someone who may be in the same season as me, the same realization as me, or you're possibly going down the same path and you're just not aware yet. And so I just want to have this conversation with you because we as women should always be in a constant state of softness and love. And we should be able to be patient with ourselves the same way that we can be patient with those around us and our loved ones, even when they're not deserving. So we need to do better as women and to be patient with ourselves. So let's get into it. Let's talk about us as women learning how to be patient with ourselves. And you guys, I just also want to clarify that when I'm talking about patience, I'm talking about the complete total scale. So patience as in being patient towards our goal and the things that we want in life, and not getting there as fast as we wanted or receiving the blessings that we want from God, but also minor things. And this is what I'm really focusing on because my patience is like even something as simple as me combing my hair, and I'm rushing in the morning and the comb flies out of my hand, and then I'm becoming upset and impatient. Like, Brooke, like, why am I always making mistakes? Like, it's so aggravating. And just something as small as that, you guys, it's gotten so bad, I'm almost embarrassed to say. But this is a safe space. So let's get into it, okay? So, why is it important for us to make sure that we're being patient with ourselves through these big accomplishments that we want, and also these minor mistakes that we might be making? Okay, so if we are in a constant state of being impatient with ourselves, that means that we are going to be in a constant state of negative energy and negative affirmations, which I'll talk about after this. But we are going to be in a constant state of just stress and anger and just being impatient, and that is not healthy, and that is not deserving. We're not deserving of that. But if we're in that, that's separating us from being in the moment and being present. And that is extremely important as women because This life can be so beautiful, and a part of being soft and feminine women is taking advantage of the present moment and finding the beauty in everything, even the small things. And when we're not in the present, we begin to ignore the things that we have because we're constantly looking at what we don't have. We're constantly focused on the things, on the mistakes that we're making. And we're always looking at the negative instead of looking at the positive. Well, if we're always constantly on the negative, that means we're going to constantly be in a negative state. And we're going to be separated from the positive, beautiful energy and the light that we are. And so we don't want that. And so I can give you guys some examples, like going back to the comb. I don't know why this irked me so much, you guys, but when I'm combing my hair and I'm rushing in the morning and the comb just fling out my hand because it gets stuck in my hair and falls on the ground, I get upset. And I'm like, really? Like, why did that have to happen? Why am I always making mistakes? Why am I so clumsy? It was never this bad for me, but like I said, somewhere down the line, I just became impatient with all of that. And while I'm getting ready, I'm now focused on how I'm late, how I made that mistake, how the comb flew out of my hand, and it's just pouring all of this irritation inside of me for no reason because it sounds silly as I'm talking to you guys about it. But instead, I need to be grateful. I need to be grateful that I have my hair to comb. I need to be grateful that I have the apartment to comb my hair in. I need to be grateful that I have this moment to get dressed, to get ready, and that wherever I'm going, I'm blessed to be going into that space, whether it's work, hanging out with friends, or church. I need to practice being grateful and being present instead of just focusing on the negative, something as small as a comb flying out my hand. And so, like I said, it can be either small or large. I believe we all struggle with both, but that is just a little moment of transparency for you guys. Something as small as that. I also want to point out that when we step back and look at the grand scheme, and if it's something that's larger, being impatient when it comes to a goal, when we start looking at our mistakes overall, and then we start comparing ourselves to other people, like, wow, like this person seems to have it all together. They're excelling much faster than I am. It's taking us away from our identity. And now we're starting to compare ourselves to other people. And now we're starting to talk down on ourselves. So that's leading to the next topic. Our words have power. So soft and feminine energy, as I mentioned in other videos, is that we have the power to speak and give ourselves positive affirmations. But if we're in a constant state of negative energy and all of this stuff, then we are going to speak negativity into our lives. And therefore, where our words are, that's where our mind is going to follow. And then we're going to start believing these things. Like how I mentioned, like sometimes when I make these mistakes, I'm like, Brooke, I'm always so clumsy. And now I'm ashamed to even say this. There's been a few times where I've said, why are you so stupid? Like, Brooke, why are you doing this? You're so stupid. Why are you always making mistakes? You guys, that is not healthy. And you start to follow that mindset. You start to believe that because our words are so powerful and so strong. And we are created in the image of God. And so our words do have power. So if I'm speaking this onto my identity and my word, then that's the direction I'm going to go. We have to be patient and forgiving and loving of ourselves because our mental state depends on it because it's following our words and what we speak into our lives. And so this leads to a very major point of mine, as I mentioned before, but now we're separating ourselves from our word, and that's not okay. And I don't want you to fall down this hole as well. We were created for so much greatness. You guys, we are nurturers, we are loving, we are patient, we are kind. We have skill sets that a lot of men may not have. And we can lose these things if we're in a constant place of aggression and speaking negative affirmations into our life. So now we're separating ourselves from God separating ourselves from our true worth, our true identity, and we're not functioning as women, as soft, feminine, beautiful women. Soft woman with a purpose, is solid and stands firm in her identity and in her worth. And I truly do believe that this is a muscle that we have to practice and work on, because we have to stand strong and tall when all these different things are trying to pull us away. But I do believe our biggest enemy is ourselves. So we have to stand strong against ourselves when we do start trying to talk negatively on ourselves or because we're becoming impatient. These are the reasons why being patient with ourselves keeps us closer to that soft and feminine energy, and is why it's very, very important. So, of course, I'm going to tell you guys ways on how we can work on this and combat this so that we're not in this constant state of impatientness with ourselves. So, here are some solutions to exit out of this space and to get back to our soft and feminine energy, or to even recognize it before we start going down this path. These are steps and practices that I've been doing with myself. Slow down, step back, and figure out the root of this. Figure out the root of why you maybe become impatient with yourself, or why it is that you're so upset when you make small mistakes, or why is it that you compare yourself to other people. What is it that's making you impatient? I believe for me, it's just getting caught in the routine of life, that I've started just flowing with life, going to work, going to work out, going home, working on some of my goals and dreams. But I started just um, losing the ability to just step back and be patient. Being present. And I started taking things for granted. And when I take things for granted, I'm now kind of not appreciating them. And so going back to the comb right there, combing my hair, the comb flying out my hand, I'm being impatient with that because I comb my hair every single day, but I'm kind of being ungrateful that I can slow down, take care of my body, take care of my hair, and comb it out. Next is we're going to recognize bad habits. Going back to the examples of the comb and making the wrong turn on the highway. I realize that I'm always in a constant state of rushing. Therefore, that's on me. That's my mistake, because I'm not in the present. I'm rushing. I'm always trying to go from one place to another and not being present. So I realize that I'm lacking in time management, maybe, and organization. And that's something that I can do better, and I can really flex that muscle. We want to recognize these bad habits and be honest with ourselves and see where we can do better to try and eliminate these trigger points on when we become impatient with ourselves. Another solution to allow us to exit out of this space, we need to understand that mistakes are lessons. Okay, this is a hard one for me. Mistakes are lessons. And just how I just mentioned, figuring out our trigger points, that's a lesson. Hey, when I become impatient, when I start talking negatively over myself, it's when A, B, and C happen. It's when I put myself in this situation. It's when this happens to me. That is a lesson learned, and that is powerful, understanding these things. So even making the wrong exit on the highway, now I know I can't be in this lane when I'm driving going in this direction. So there's beauty and power in that. Understanding, taking control of your mistakes. And so I started practicing more of this as I'm getting dressed, as I'm rushing, trying to eliminate myself from rushing. But when I make mistakes, it's like, okay, I'm rushing, I'm making all these mistakes now. I need to get up early. I need to plan my outfits, plan out my morning the night before. I need to prep for this the night before so that I can be in a more peaceful state and eliminate these triggers. Or even as far as reaching some of these larger goals, mistakes happen, failures happen, but they're so powerful. So use them. Another solution to help us exit out of this space is positive affirmation. I always talk about this. Combat the negative affirmations with positive affirmations. And so when something unfortunate happens or a mistake happens, just say, hey, this is a lesson learned. I am strong, I'm powerful, I am wise enough to take this as a lesson and to use it in my favor. Hey, I am soft, I am forgiving, hi baby, I am loving, and this mistake is only a blessing from God. His will is greater than mine. Whatever it is, just give yourself positive affirmations. We got to be like prayer warriors, word warriors, and really speak positive love and energy into our life. The final thing to help us to exit out of this impatient state with ourselves. This is the goal, is getting us back to the soft energy. And this is forcing ourselves to slow down. You guys, it's extremely important, and I truly do believe we as women, I think it's one of our superpowers, how nurturing and loving that we are. Being able to just slow down, finding the beauty in things that other people may not see. I do think it's a gift that God has given us. I think um, it's definitely like just a superpower for us. And being present, it's the cure. It calms us from negative energy, negative thoughts, and it allows us to appreciate the space, the blessings, the love that we're surrounded by, everything that's in our life. And so being present is so powerful. We want to make sure we're not separating ourselves from that. So I want to encourage you to slow down. This is why it's important to plan ahead, give yourselves affirmations, all of these things. But slow down and just be present. Acknowledge the natural light coming out of your window. Acknowledge that you have a place to stay, a place to sleep. Acknowledge that you are alive and here and present, and that you have this moment to capitalize on, to be in, and that you do exist. But just be present and in the moment. And I just want to encourage you, just don't let these beautiful moments pass you by. So these are some of the techniques that I've been using and I've been actively practicing to help myself being present and being more patient with myself. Because let me tell you guys, even getting ready to film this vlog for you guys, it's so much going on, and sometimes I can become irritable with myself. I really practice these techniques to help me so that I could film this and talk without being irritable, without talking negatively, because I truly do believe you guys can sense it when I'm in that energy and I start recording these videos. I do feel like it's probably a little bit robotic or monotone. But this is truly coming from the heart, and with everything on my channel, I'm going through these things with you guys. So I just wanted to make sure that I was being transparent, sharing some of these things with you guys. And like I said, it's something that I noticed. It's very important that we are patient with ourselves. We are loving and kind. And, we're present and we're practicing all of these things so that we're remaining in a soft and feminine state. But I want to thank you guys for just spending a little bit of time with me. I know it's been a while since I recorded and talked to you guys. But I just want to remind you guys that I love you and you are safe here, and that we learn to live beautiful, feminine, loving lives. But thank you, and I do hope that this video helped you in some way. I'll see you guys next week. And again, I love you. Bye.